You're not getting any younger, so
enjoy this moment, enjoy this day, enjoy the people who care about you.
Hey you! Yes, you! Welcome to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast, a podcast for people who want to disrupt their lives for a good reason, to make it count. I'm your host, Jen Glantz, and every week I'll drop a new episode with stories from real people just like you, who woke up one morning and decided to make big changes, starting with small things. We'll cover topics like entrepreneurship, love, failure, and self-care. Hey, you're not getting any younger, so let's make this an adventure. Ready? If you've ever interacted with me in the business world, you'll know that I've taken on the reputation of being a bit of a shark. I don't stop, won't stop, can't stop until I get someone to respond to my emails. I've been known to send anywhere from 8 to 42 emails before finally getting a response. And of all the years I've been doing this, only one time has someone said to me, "Jen, if you email me again, I'll place some sort of digital restraining order on you." In which I replied, "Thanks for the heads up." It took me 42 emails, 7 phone calls, and a couple of Twitter DMs to get on the Today Show 2 years ago. It took me 28 emails and 3 phone calls to get on the Steve Harvey Show. And only 16 emails and a Lyft ride across town to get this week's guest, Brett Novek, on the show. Brett's an actor, model, turned clothing designer who started the company hYOUman after his father passed away in 2011 to honor his memory. I found out about hYOUman when I was shopping at a tiny little store in Florida. I read more about the company and set out on a personal mission to get Brett to say okay to being on this show. I'm so glad email number 16 worked out, and I hope you enjoy all of the wisdom and the heart that Brett brings to this episode. And as a reminder, come hang out in the secret You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group, where we chat about the kinds of topics nobody else will ask you about, but you know you should be talking about because, hey, life is fleeting, and you, my dear friend, you're not getting any younger. Welcome to the show, Brett.
I'm so excited. Thanks for having me.
On my way over here, I realized that you and I are technically strangers, so this is a little weird, but
it's not weird at all.
Okay, good. I wanted to start off by asking you questions that maybe you would ask a stranger. For example, what did you eat for breakfast?
Okay. So, I changed it just today, actually. So I usually have a different breakfast regimen, but I changed it today because my stomach's been bothering me, and I think it's due to coffee. And I love coffee, but I'm not drinking it anymore. I made a switch. I'm drinking matcha.
How do you feel about matcha?
As you can see.
It's like green. It looks like green.
Okay,
goo.
so it's not good by itself at all.
Yeah.
It tastes like dirt, pretty much. But I'm mixing it with vanilla almond milk and water and ice, and then it's like an acquired taste. It's really good. It makes me feel really good. I'm getting like this. It's more of like a body instead of like a head ready to go. My body is like ready to go.
I have to say you're brave because they say matcha has just as much caffeine as coffee, and it is currently almost 6 p.m. and you're doing the caffeine thing. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I did it in the morning. I'm gonna do it now because I'm gonna go to the gym after this.
Nice.
Just,
pump yourself
ready
up.
to go.
My next friendship question for you is, do you have a nickname?
My friends call me B-Nov.
Why?
Brett Novek. B-Nov. Anything else? That's pretty much it.
And my final friendship question for you is, what is the best college in the United States of America?
I'm going to have to go with University of Central Florida.
I had to ask that question because, it was so crazy. I want to talk about how I found out about who you were. I was in Florida. I was shopping with my mom, and I was going through the racks, and I put my hands on this t-shirt and was like, this is the softest t-shirt ever. And then I looked at the t-shirt, and it said the words, best day ever. I'm wearing it right now. But I stopped because my boyfriend's company is called Best Day Ever.
No way.
So I texted him a picture of the shirt, and he says, you're getting it, right? right? And I wasn't really going to get it because, money and stuff. But I was like, all right, I have to get it. And I take it home, I look at the back of the shirt, and on the back of the shirt, it says Good Human. So I Google what Good Human is. I lead myself to this website where it's a clothing brand. There's a crazy story behind the brand. Then I find out about you. I Google you, and I'm like, oh my God, this guy went to the University of Central Florida. It's just such a crazy small world. So
that's a good story. That's crazy.
I really believe that the universe puts people together for a reason. So definitely. A, I'm so happy that you're on the podcast, but B, I want to start off by talking about Good Human. So tell us what this company is.
Yeah, so Good Human is a company I started 7 years ago now, which is crazy. How time flies by. But I started in memory of my dad. He was the most amazing guy ever. He was my best friend, and he passed away, and I wanted to do something to keep his memory alive. So I basically ordered a screen printing machine off an infomercial, and I started screen printing t-shirts in my bathroom with like inspirational messages, some that he would say and some that I just really liked. And yeah, it's a positive, inspirational clothing brand. We make amazingly soft clothing. Everything's made in LA, t-shirts, sweatshirts, and it's fashion, made to feel good and do good. So we are constantly working with charities and giving back, and it's crazy because, losing my dad was the hardest thing, and then creating Good Human has been the best thing to ever happen to me. So it's kind of, life is weird like that.
It's such an interesting thing because we hear all the time people who go through grief, they go through loss, and they find themselves not sure of really what to do next. What was your mindset like? Where were you? What was going through your head when you saw that infomercial and connected the dots to say, this is how I'm going to find a way to, make a memory of my dad?
Yeah. So it wasn't a well thought out plan. Let's just say that. I was actually, going back a couple of years before he passed away, I had moved to LA to do like acting and modeling, and it was going pretty well. And I was actually on a job in New York. But at this point, I knew I wanted to start like some clothing company for him. I always loved fashion. So it was like, I was actually really upset. I remember in the hotel room, I was just like lonely and, missing my dad. I thought about him constantly. So the infomercial came on, and then I was like, I've never ordered anything in my life off an infomercial except this freaking screen printing machine. And that was the only thing I've ever ordered and probably will ever order. And I ordered it, came to my house, and it was just like, it happened very slowly, but so organically. And I was like, this is where I'm going to start the business. I told my roommates, I'm like, I'm putting the screen printer in the bathroom, and this is what I'm going to do. And I don't know, it's funny because I never had like this plan or goal. I was like, I liked fashion. I wanted to do something for my dad. It was very innate. It happened like, let's just do this step and then this step. And I've always it happened like that. And so there's definitely ways where it happens organically like that. And then also there's ways to build something when you're planning it. There's no right or wrong. It's just like whatever path you're supposed to kind of be on, I guess.
I'm a huge believer in not having much of a plan. Mm-hmm. I really think that's the best way to start. And it seems like you had a passion and a heart behind something. You didn't know what that something was going to be. And then you found yourself in the bathroom making these shirts. Did you make these shirts with the intention of selling them? And if so, who did you think was going to buy these shirts at first?
Good question. Yeah. I mean, obviously I thought I would like to sell these. I had no clue what I was doing. So I was first like figuring out how can I make a great product, and that I feel good about. I think that's with anything that someone's doing. It's like, even if you're not ready to share it with the world, you need to be pretty confident about whatever you're doing. Or then you just have excuses. And I didn't want to do that, where people, I have a website, but it's like, it's not good yet. You want to be confident about what you're doing. So I was thinking, okay, I definitely want to sell these, and what will that take? And I just met people. That's what it was. Just like you came. That's why I was like wanting to do this podcast, because I commend you for reaching out, and you're here, and that's like 98% of it. So that was my whole thing. I've always been driven, and I was like, okay, who do I need to meet? How do I make a better product? I called people that I knew. I called people who had, better taste than I did in the fashion industry. And with all these great people, you learn. And I just kept perfecting it. I went to a trade show, and at that trade show was when I knew I had a business. In 3 days, the trade show's in Vegas, and I sold $30,000 worth of shirts in 3 days. And I was like, holy shit.
Wow.
How do I make all this now?
Okay. So obviously a lot of people buy screen printers, go into their bathroom maybe, and print on t-shirts. What did you tell yourself was going to be the thing that made you unique, the thing that was going to make you stand out?
So I think a lot of things, is timing. Timing is huge. Luck is huge. Product is huge. It's almost like you have to have the perfect storm to really make something successful, I think. So the timing was amazing. The price was amazing. The product was amazing. It was perfect. I really, I must say, Good Human was started 7 years ago, before all this, let's do good kind of thing was like, this was genuine. This was a real story. I was passionate about it. And I ran up to every person walking by. Hey, let me get 30 seconds of your time to tell you about this new company I started, and, it's what was different too. It was so simplistic. It was coming off of like the Ed Hardy kind of bedazzled. We had little messages on garment dyed great t-shirts, for a good price point. And what was cool is, we're based around the idea that everyone has a story. So we have an inspirational story on our hang tags that we feature every season. So I would tell them that, and there's a picture of my dad and I on all the hang tags, and it was like real. And people took a chance on it. That was it. I was like, let me, it's $400 minimum order. Boom. And then it just kind of snowballed.
When you were first starting out, what gave you the courage to walk up to people and give them your elevator pitch? And what gave you the courage to say, I'm going to go to the trade show in Vegas and see if these could sell? Like, what gave you the motivation to just keep pushing and trying this?
Well, I was very scared. I definitely have anxiety. I did it because I needed to, actually. Like, I don't really do much of the sales anymore. I hired a sales director because I don't want to do that. But I was so passionate about the product and what it stood for that I just kind of, one foot in front of the other. Signed up for the trade show. All right, well then I guess I got to go. So then I went. I wanted to like throw up before the trade show started, honestly. And I still get nervous because it's scary, but you those are the things that make you grow. It's so cliche, but it's so true. You just got to do it. What's the worst that's going to happen, So I just kind of put one foot in front of the other, and I had to do it. I had to ship the products. I had to make the products. I had to stay up until 3 a.m. working on things, and that was the only way it was going to get done.
Are you the kind of person who talks to yourself before you go into something scary and gives yourself a whole monologue?
Definitely.
What do you say? Well, what did you say back then when you were especially nervous to do some of these things?
I actually talk to myself probably way too often.
Okay, good. I don't want to be like the creep that asks that, but so do I. And I feel like, do you talk to yourself out louder in your head?
No, definitely in my head.
Okay. I'm from New York. We talk out loud because we get away with that kind of stuff. But what do you say to yourself? Are you nice? Are you mean? Are you firm? I'm
negative, probably. My mind is it's not, I wouldn't say it's negative. It's like I'm driven to find solutions. So I'm always just thinking of problems. Like I'm a human being, right? And so I'm trying to survive basically. And so my mind is, I don't have to go kill a tiger today and stuff to survive, but I have to make sure we stay in business and da-da-da. So I'm always just thinking like, how do we improve? I don't stop. I'm like, how do we improve the product? How do we improve the people that are working at Good Human? And as far as like what I tell myself, it's just, everything's gonna be okay, but just focus. What do I need to focus on? Don't go too crazy on everything. What is the most important thing? How do I prioritize my thoughts? Write it down and be like, I'm gonna accomplish that today. And if you do that, you feel great that day too. And so everyone has crazy self-talk about everything, you know? And it's like, I think a key to being successful at anything too is focus on whatever it is, the goal, the day, the month, the year. Like, what is your focus? And now I'm asking more of the question of like, why? You know, because in the first, 5 years, it's like, you know why, and you're doing it this way, and you're doing it, same thing. And now as you change as a person, as you grow up, and as the world changes and marketing changes and brands change, everything's changing. It's like, why are we doing things the way we are? Should we be doing it that way? Why should we be? So now I'm at the point where I'm like questioning why we're doing it, which I think is great always because people get so stuck in their ways, whether that's in business or personal, and asking yourself like why and really coming up with good answers, I think it's really creates clarity.
It's so interesting because I'm thinking about how you started this in 2011 and times were so different then.
Oh my God.
There was social media, but it wasn't like it is now. And there wasn't online marketing like there is now. So what kind of challenges has this meant for your business over the years when you started off as a really genuine company to now having to showcase and do all of these crazy things on social media to survive?
So it's funny because, like I said, like everything, you can have a goal for your company, for your life, whatever it is, and it's going to change. It doesn't matter what it is, and so my goal changed. Originally, we started out selling wholesale, and basically that's like our main business, wholesale, where we sell to boutiques and then they sell it to the consumer. And then I started seeing all these direct-to-consumer companies popping up that were just crushing it. And this is probably 4 years ago when I started to second-guess what we were doing, freaking out. Like, oh, boutiques are going out of business. It's all direct-to-consumer. And we kept doing wholesale. That was a big part of our business. We were definitely strategizing of how to grow our website, which we're doing. But now I'm realizing I think it's kind of plateauing with the boutiques and the brick and mortar, and now they're here to stay. The business model of their business model has to change a little bit and be a little bit more experiential, but it's here. Westfield and stuff they did $1 billion renovation, and it's a great experience. They have a Tesla place, they have great food, it's all open, outdoor. So I think that was freaking me out, but we still continued wholesale, and that was like, it scared me that our business was gonna go to shit, and it didn't, and we just you have to just wait and kind of see. I think it's okay to all right, where is this new Instagram feature gonna take our business? Even IGTV just came out, we don't need to hop on it right away. What does it mean? What Snapchat? Snapchat came out. It was like, we were all over Snapchat. Now we're not even on Snapchat. And it's like, you got to just test things. So important. Put some money towards something, put some energy towards something, have a goal towards that. Okay, we're expecting this to work out like this in this time frame. Did it? Yes. Okay, let's put more money to it, more time to it. If it doesn't, let's move on to the next thing and try something else. I mean, something really important I will say too, I definitely think trusting people with experience is great. But no one knows you or your business like you. So no one's going to have a crystal ball, even if they're 50 or 30 and they've been through it. You can take their information, and that's amazing to use. And it's great. It's great. I've learned a lot from people who have been through things, but people have given me advice that are way smarter than me and more experienced. I'm like, well, that would not work for my business, but thank you, So I think it's all experience. It's all learning and continuing to grow and trying not to mess up.
What did you study at UCF?
Marketing.
So even with a marketing background, you didn't leave UCF and go straight into building a business and becoming the founder of a business. So how did you learn how to run a business? How did you learn all of this stuff? Was it just learn as you go? Did you read a bunch of books? Did you make a lot of mistakes? I mean, what did you do?
I made so many mistakes. I remember I was thinking about this the other day. For the first, I think maybe 3 years in business, I didn't have liability insurance. I had maybe, say, in the first 3 years, we had 5 or 6 employees, didn't have insurance. You can't do that. I didn't have workers' comp insurance. I didn't have liability insurance. I didn't know. And then I talked to, it's all about like good people though that helped me along the way. Talked to my buddy Rob, and he introduced me to this other guy who came in and like asked me if I had insurance, So I'm always learning. I'm still learning, but I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything from the start. I messed up. I do think people should, take someone out for lunch and say, what are some basics that I could be missing? Help me out with that. Like what are 10 things you could tell me that will save me $100,000 over the next couple of years? If someone was starting a clothing business, I could save them $100,000 with a 20-minute conversation. There's no, unless they would knew what they were doing. Yeah. But I'm saying someone who was just starting something and they were doing a business like mine that's wholesale and online, just because I've been through it, So I learned along the way. I made a lot of mistakes. I messed up a lot on product. I always was like, oh, this is the last time we're going to ship, this product is subpar. We're screwed. But I guess it was good enough. And then it's crazy how you continue to learn too. It's just never ending.
You seem like the kind of person who asks for help and is good at that. So what advice do you have for somebody to then reach out to somebody else and say, hey, can I take you out for lunch? Can I take you out for coffee? Because sometimes doing that is A, scary, and B, some people just don't want to give that advice for free. Mm-hmm. So what advice do you have to get people out of their houses and in front of people who could let them know about the mistakes they're making or who could give them some really valuable business advice?
Some people who are specifically consultants and charge for that are going to want to charge you, sure. Mm-hmm. But if someone's just a business owner or in, industry that you want to be in, and you reach out to them, maybe it might take four emails or a couple phone calls. I think that person would probably give you some time. Yeah. I really do. I think humans innately want to help other people. So if you're not going to be much of a burden and you tell them transparently, like, look, it's going to take 30 minutes. I can come to you. I do that all the time. I'll say, I'll come to you. I'll get you, we can meet at your office or coffee, whatever you want. People want to help people. Yeah. That's like 99% of the people who reach their financial goals, they give back, whether it's their money, their time, their energy. Like that's what we want to do. You always hear celebrities, they have a charity because they have so much money and then they get to do what they want to do, which is give and help. Yeah. So I think if you seem genuine and normal, there's some weird people out there who have definitely reached out to me and they're weird, and that's okay. I'm happy for them, but it would be weird, I knew when you reached out to me that you were normal and good.
How did you know that?
I just felt good vibes. You went to UCF first of all, so that was
and I put that in my subject line to get you to open it.
You did, and that meant something to me. I looked up your podcast, and you just seemed like a normal good person, and that's what I want to help normal good people.
But I think here's some of my tricks is I think the key is you have to email someone 8 times before you give up, because people are busy and it's not about you. Even to get you on the show, I had to email you a bunch of times and I didn't take it personally. I was just like, this person's busy. They get emails. Eventually they'll write back. And 2, I think if you're going to meet someone and get their advice, you have to have a list of questions. Because the last thing you want to do, Brett, is meet someone for lunch who's like, okay, tell me how I start a clothing company. Like you want someone to be like, here's my 10 questions, and they're not super vague. And I think that that's a good starting point for people who want to ask for help. And you should ask for help. It's definitely something very hard to do. How did you get the name Good Human?
It's very funny. It's very funny. So I was like hanging out at my ex-girlfriend's house, and we were having a couple drinks, and it was like a little get together. Okay, it's probably 1:30 in the morning, and I told her and the people that were there, this was like when I wanted to start something for my dad, a clothing company. And I was like, I don't know what the name's going to be. And this had been going on for a couple weeks. And I was on the floor, like wrestling with her Yorkie. Just like a 3-pound Yorkie. Oh, I think he passed away. He was a good dog.
Oh, no.
Yeah, anyways. And I called the dog a good human. I said, you're such a good human. Like, you're the cutest dog ever. You're a good human. And then my buddy was like, that's a good name for the clothing company. I go, yep. And then I always was like artistic and stuff and wanted to be creative with it. So to make it different, I spelt it differently about, changed the U to YOU because it's about you being a good human. And I looked it up online. Like, this is a big deal. Anyone starting a company, trademarks. Okay. So I looked up on the USPTO website, Good Human. Spelled like that, wasn't taken. Boom. Good human.
It's such a good, catchy name. And the slogans on your shirt are also very incredible because they're so simple, yet wearing them, I feel like, makes you stop and pause in your life and feel something and remember something. You have a shirt that says thankful. Mm-hmm. You have some other ones that I was looking at today when I was like, gotta buy these because they're just things that just make you pause and remember that life is very short, and sometimes you just have to take a step back and understand that you have everything you're supposed to have and that you need, and you should be really grateful for that. I really like how you spotlight different people's stories on your tags. What made you decide to share other people's stories?
I think, before I started Good Human, I'm not going to say I was like selfish, but when my dad passed away, it like made me put perspective on things. So it really made me think like everyone has a story. I was younger. When you're younger, you don't really put as much thought into people and being empathetic and stuff. And when that happened to me, it was like a slap in the face and made me, think more about other people. And I love hearing people's stories and to think like, what if we start sharing other people's stories? Like, yeah, it can start with my story, but it's really about other people. How cool would that be? I used to put them screen print them inside on the shirt, on the inside label, but it was so difficult. It was like the paint was seeping through. But it was like a no-brainer when I thought of that. I said, we have to share other people's stories. So we get people email mystory@goodhuman.com, and we choose a story every season, and we print it on the hang tag, and we send them the hang tags and clothing, and they love it, and it's like this community of people sharing their stories of hardship that they really created something positive from. And I think that's what makes us who we are. Something is, you learn from those things, those experiences that at the time seem bad and difficult. Those end up being like the best things that happen to you, which is weird in hindsight, but
it's incredibly weird. And what do you think has been your biggest learning experience through the past 7 years?
I definitely can't like attribute one experience because I feel like there's new things that happen every day that shape me and how I see myself and the world. But an experience, I mean, obviously losing my dad changed my entire life. That's still terrible and horrible for me every day. It's weird not being able to have someone to talk to that would be able to help me with 90% of the situations I go through. So that's difficult, but I think there was a time when Good Human was like really growing, and it was hard for me to teach the employees or lead the employees we had. So I had to let some people go, and then a bunch of people quit too. That was like the hardest experience probably for me. These were my first employees, and I loved them and still do love them. They're amazing people, and I wouldn't be here without them. But it's like weird when you see, okay, I don't have the experience to help these people grow. They're looking at me to help them grow. They're frustrated. This is getting difficult. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that was really hard when we basically now have all different people, which is crazy. And then you look back and you're like, oh, this is how life is supposed to. It was supposed to be like this. You know, they're supposed to move on. I was supposed to hire new people and learn from them, and that was definitely a big change for me.
As somebody who runs a business, what keeps you up at night?
Besides the caffeine from the matcha.
And the fact that you're getting married and
that is stressful, yes, the marriage thing. That's exciting. That definitely keeps me up at night. But on a, all things normal, what keeps me up? It's more the like economy. I know that's weird, but I think we have the right team on board and the right people, and we're doing everything very well, and I'm confident with the product and the people. So my only thing is like, where's the economy going to be in 2 years? Because we've been crushing it for the past 10 years, and that's annoying to think about because there's not much I can really do about it. So I try not to worry about that.
I wish you could.
Yeah, I wish there was something I could do where I could see the future and make some smart investments. But that's always stressful. And I always want to make sure everybody like around me at hYOUman is happy. So that if someone is not happy, they can, even if it's for like a day, I want people to be happy around me. I don't know why. I don't like conflict. I don't like confrontation. Just want everything to be good.
I could tell that about you, which is such a good quality to have because not many people are like that. All of your clothing has amazing inspirational sayings or slogans on them, but what is one that you would say is truly your motto for how you live your life?
It's the first message I thought of, and it said, "My life story will be a good one." And that was the first shirt I ever screen printed.
Why was that the first slogan you came up with?
I don't know. I think at the time, I was just wanting to uplift people and it was so in the beginning like story because what I was going through basically. So even though I had that hardship, my story was still going to be good, you know?
That's incredible. In doing a lot of research on you, I creeped back into what you were doing before this, and you were an actor and a model, and you were on a show called America's Most Smartest Model, in which you placed fourth.
Yes.
I have to ask about this because I don't remember this show, but first of all, what in the world kind of show is this? And congratulations for placing fourth, but what did you have to do on America's Most Smartest Model?
Oh, God. That was the funniest show. I swear, if it's around, we got to find it. It's so funny. It was so bad, it was good. That's what it was. So originally, I didn't know it was going to be America's Most Smartest Model. I didn't find out the name of the show.
Because they don't tell you.
Oh, no. They told me like 3 days before I left. I ended up meeting, and then you have to like meet with a psychologist and stuff.
Yeah.
I was talking to the guy. I was like, dude, I can't do this. Like, they just told me the name of the show. This is going to be terrible, you know? And he's like, if you want me to tell them that you're really weird and stuff and not and shouldn't be on the show, I can. I called like my agent. And I was like, this is going to make fun of everybody. And then the producers came in and they said, look, just be you and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. You're decently smart, you know? And I was, because to get on the show, actually, I had to answer 20 questions, just like random questions. And I got 19 right. And I'll never forget, I didn't know how to spell couture. I got that wrong. And that was the one question I got wrong. Anyways, so I did the show. It was like a contestant show. There was 16 of us. I was living in Florida at the time. They flew us out to LA. We were all in a house up Mulholland's, and unbelievable experience. It it was very stupid and ridiculous, but I was like young and who cares, you know? So I did it. I filmed it for 3 weeks. I came in 4th. I wasn't very dramatic on the show. I guess I was pretty boring. You know, I did my thing. I didn't cause any drama. They wanted me to talk shit about people. I wouldn't. And that's why I came in 4th. I could have probably been a little bit more of an asshole and maybe came in 1st or 2nd, but I didn't want to do that. I was always thinking, like, my grandma's watching this and I'm not going to be an asshole. So I came in 4th. That was a great experience. I ended up like booking some cool jobs because of it and don't regret it, even though it was a terrible name.
I don't judge you. I've tried out for every reality show out there, and
Nice.
I'm very happy that I didn't get on most of them, but I get it. I completely get it, especially when you're living in Florida. You do whatever you can to get out of that state.
Me too. Oh, God, Florida. Good place, though.
Good. Interesting place. So you started off as a model and an actor.
Mm-hmm.
What was that type of career like for you?
It was actually really good.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have... And I had like some weird experiences that never got too weird, you know, but it was good. It was a good business. Like, I met some great people doing it that helped me with good human, you know, so that's kind of crazy how, I mean, at the beginning I would have all my friends kind of would help me for free for like 2 years, you know, just good people that helped me. And so it was, the acting I never really liked. I was so nervous going into auditions, but the modeling was pretty good and like TV commercials were good. I did like a Taco Bell commercial that was really funny.
No way.
Yeah. It was.
Did they give you free food?
They didn't. They gave us money though,
okay, that's
which
even better.
bought us food.
All right, even better.
Yeah,
even better.
I was even gonna say, like, they didn't even give us tacos on set because they designed them. Actually, they're like fake. They put this glue. You have to eat it and spit it out. Actually,
no way.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Yeah, it was for a Bacon Club chalupa. I mean, it was like the best day of my life.
Yeah,
it was so much fun. So I did like a couple commercials. I was on an episode of Criminal Minds.
Doing what?
I played a fraternity guy. I ended up getting murdered or something. I had to lay inside a closet naked. They didn't see anything, you know. I was covered, and so I actually had to get tied up for this scene. And they bound my wrists and my ankles. And Jason Alexander was the director of that episode. They have like guest directors on those shows. You know, George Costanza from Seinfeld. And he walked in and he's like, "Oh, you're Carl." The name of the character was Carl. He goes, "Oh, you must be Carl. Welcome to show business." And I remember with like 2 thumbs up with my hands bound naked. I was like, "Thanks, man." He was actually so nice. I ended up talking to him for like 20 minutes. We talked about Curb Your Enthusiasm, which I love, and Larry David, and even George Costanza, and like he was the nicest guy ever.
What were you thinking in that moment when you were laying there? I mean, you seem pretty happy about just having that type of job. Were you just thrilled to be working?
I was so excited when I booked that. It was also nervous. I didn't act growing up, so I never liked it. I never liked acting. I would like call my mom before auditions, and I brought a flask with me sometimes and just took like a swig. That didn't help. I was not good. I didn't have the experience. It was so, but I was also young and trying to like just what path. I didn't know what I wanted to do. This kind of happened, and I just kind of went with the flow. I'm happy that I at least got out to LA, and you know, I could have not made that move and just gone home to Florida, but I think I always wanted a little bit more than Florida had to offer, you know? So I was like, I'm gonna take this step.
Amen to that. Not to offend anyone who's in Florida. It's a wonderful place, but sometimes I felt like I had to go. Especially when you go to college in Florida as well. You need that out-of-state experience, and sometimes you just got to get a little far away from the people you know in Florida.
Definitely. I think it's a great place to grow up and go to college, and it depends what you want in life, you know? It's all like to each their own. My brother lives there. He's loving life.
Yeah.
Super happy for him.
Yeah. And
I envy his life sometimes.
Correct. When I'm in New York and it's snowing and I look at life there, I'm like, Jen, you're the dumb one. They're they're doing it. They're doing it absolutely right.
Yeah, it's a lot cheaper. You can get a nice house there, pretty cheap.
Correct.
Yeah.
I want to end with a quick lightning fire round. So I'm just going to ask you a couple questions and just say whatever comes to mind. Are you ready?
Ready.
Awesome. When you were a kid, what did you want to grow up to become?
Oh, man. Hold on. I know this is a lot lightning, but
it's okay. Take your time.
Okay. Let's. I don't remember.
Think back to baby Brett.
I mean, I loved baseball, so I would say a baseball player. I was like obsessed with baseball.
For what team?
The Marlins.
Still?
I don't even follow them anymore.
That's probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Don't remember them. Remember them for how they were, not how they are now. What's your dream job now?
100% what I'm doing. So I'm the CEO of hYOUman, and it is such a good job. I'm so fortunate, mainly because of the people that I see every day. They're unbelievable.
What advice would you give Brett at age 22 graduating from college?
Say yes to everything. Mm-hmm. Just keep doing things, meeting people, get out, do what makes you uncomfortable. It's easy to stay home and watch Netflix. Don't do that.
What piece of advice do you wish you can give yourself now that you would actually listen to?
Okay. So like right now, what I'd give my current self.
Yeah.
Okay. I like this question. I'm going to do this. Relax, Brett. Relax.
I'm going to send you this audio clip so you can play that.
I'm just going to put that on repeat. That's going to be what I'm going to wake up to my alarm. Relax.
I like it. It's a good ringtone, too.
Yeah.
What's the best advice anyone has ever given you?
Focus. Focus on, find what you want. Focus on it. Don't get distracted. Know what are you good at? Whether that's what do people like you for? What do people like your product for? And focus on that. Mm-hmm. Everybody tries to get into so many things, and you spread yourself too thin. There's a lot of people that need to see what you're good at. Focus on it.
What's the number one thing that you and or hYOUman want to accomplish this year?
I personally would like to say yes more. Mm-hmm. I personally want to be meeting up with more people. It's really what makes me happy, and I constantly am working, and then I'm like, why am I working so hard? So doing more with good people and meeting new people. Doing this, I'm so happy to have met you.
Yeah, thank you for doing this.
Oh, my pleasure.
My final question for you. Fill in the blank. You're not getting any younger, so...
Enjoy this moment. Enjoy this day. Enjoy the people who care about you.
I love that. That's really great. Brett, I can't tell you how much I'm so glad to have met you. When I first found hYOUman, I was so in love with it. I was promoting it to everybody. I signed up for the emails. And my biggest fear was like, what if I meet Brett and then don't like him and then don't like hYOUman? But I'm so glad that didn't happen because you are seriously so awesome. Your wisdom that you just shared with everyone in the past 40 minutes is so incredible. Thank you so much again for doing this. Before I let you go, tell everyone where they can find out more about you and, of course, buy their next wonderful item from hYOUman.
Okay, it's goodhyouman.com, GOODHYOUMAN.com. Go check it out. But I also want to thank you for reaching out, making this happen. You're amazing.
Thank you.
I feel like someone should interview you. If that hasn't happened yet, I would like to do it.
When's your podcast, Brett?
Just saying, no, it can be on your podcast, and we can do a reverse interview.
Oh, but
no. You're magical, and I'm so happy we did this, and I think we were supposed to meet. So
I agree.
It's pretty awesome.
I agree. Where can people find out more about you if they want to stalk you on any of the social media platforms out there?
Okay, so Instagram is basically the only place, but it's Brett, BRETTM, as in Michael, my middle name, and then Novek, NOVEK, Brett M. Novek.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brett.
Thank you.
Hey, you. Thank you for listening to the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast. There are hundreds of thousands of pods out there, so thank you for listening to this one. You can find the show notes for this week's episode up on our website, anyyounger.com. Subscribe, rate, and review the You're Not Getting Any Younger podcast on iTunes so that other ears around the world can listen too. Oh, and join our secret You're Not Getting Any Younger Facebook group, where over 1,000 people are talking about how to disrupt their lives, for a good reason, to make it count. Until next week, all my love, Jen Glantz.